Alright YouTube, so we are back of course to talk about some Square Enix news. So for today's video I wanted to do a quick recap of their E3 press conference, and also wanted to mostly of course talk about Final Fantasy Origin, which was rumored to be a game. It obviously got revealed yesterday, or I guess technically it's called Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin. Weird ass name. Really quickly though, why we didn't do a video like this yesterday is, for one, I was just kind of busy all day yesterday. Also been having car trouble for the past couple days, so I was also working on my car yesterday. And then on top of that, for some goddamn reason, my internet was just out all day. Like, it didn't come back on until like 9, 10 p.m. my time. I don't know why. Just weird shit. Just a bad day in general for David. So anyways, let's just hop right into it. So we had a Guardians of the Galaxy game revealed, and at first I just kind of rolled my eyes at this because of Marvel's Avengers. Just terrible game, poor reception. But that was made by Crystal Dynamics, and this will be made by Eidos Montreal, so maybe there will be like some difference there. And they might all kind of help each other with certain things because they're all under Square Enix. But because it's made by a different dev team, at least for the most part, it might be a better thing. But I do think I'm still just going to kind of wait till, see what the public reception is. Wait for some gameplay to come out, of course, and then just kind of probably wait for it to release and just see what the general consensus is, because they kind of already dropped the ball with Marvel's Avengers. Like, that's a Marvel game, an Avengers game. It should have been a massive success, and it was just a big flop. So, we'll just wait to see. Also, apparently the game will feature, like, dialogue options and choices, which could have lasting effects. Now, how effective those will be obviously remains to be seen, but that's at least a good thing. Also forgot to mention that it is a single-player game, which is a step in the right direction comparing it to Marvel's Avengers, which had, microtransactions out the ass and all that other bullshit. But regardless, the game's coming out October 26th this year on, like, all platforms. PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, PC. Anyways, moving on from there, we had Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster revealed, which is some sort of remaster of Final Fantasy 1 through 6. They didn't really show what it's going to look like, unless it's just going to be 8-bit like the OG original games were, and I guess they're just putting it on Steam and mobile devices. Actually, I suppose Final Fantasy 6 was 16-bit, but something that somebody pointed out on Twitter that I thought was pretty funny is that people were wanting Final Fantasy 16, and instead we're getting remasters of Final Fantasy 1 through 6, which I thought was a pretty funny observation. If this is only going to be for Steam and mobile devices, I just don't have any interest in it. I'm just not a mobile gamer that much. I play casual mobile games. I'm not going to play like RPG-style mobile games. I'm going to invest a lot of time into them. And of course, if I wanted to play them on like a PC or a laptop or some shit, this is the internet, I could play them for free. They're like 30-year-old games. We also had a Legend of Mana Remaster reveal, which is coming out on June 24th for PS4, Switch, and Steam. I own like one game for my Switch. I'll probably buy it, maybe. We'll see. How exciting is it for me to discuss yet another remaster reveal? They're apparently remastering the Life is Strange games. What was this E3 event? What are we doing here? We also got some more info on the new Life is Strange game, True Colors. These games aren't really on my radar, my dudes. No hate on them. I've only ever heard positive things about Life is Strange, but it's just some games I probably will never play. Speaking of Marvel's Avengers, we got some more shit revealed for that game. Who cares? So we ended up getting a decent-sized trailer for Babylon's Fall, and I'll be completely honest with you guys, I'm kind of lukewarm on it. The art style is not bad, but it's almost like cel-shaded at times, almost kind of like a Nier game or something like that. So that's kind of weird. Like, sometimes it looks really good, and then you see like this almost cel-shading art style in the characters and the surroundings and the environments, and it's just kind of meh. But on top of that, it's also like a live service hack and slash dungeon crawler game, which people have been talking about this game for a while. We knew Babylon's Fall existed. We didn't know exactly what it was. And I don't recall anybody ever talking about it being this. So I don't know if this is what people were wanting or expecting. Like, it just kind of, when I thought of Babylon's Fall, I thought of some sort of RPG fantasy style game. Didn't think of this. I'm not somebody that's against, like, online RPGs or whatever, multiplayer games. Like, I've played, recently got back into some World of Warcraft. I used to play a shit ton of ESO. I played a decent amount here and there of some Final Fantasy XIV. Like, I'm into multiplayer online games, MMORPGs, things like that. I don't know what I feel about this, and regardless, unless there's something, like, super crazy good revealed for this, it's almost definitely not going to be a game I pick up day one. Like, it's not going to be a $60 purchase for ya boy. It's going to be a Walmart $20 rack purchase at some point. Maybe I'm in the minority here. Maybe people watch this and loved it or are super excited for it. I don't know. This just isn't what I thought Babylon's Fall was going to be, so. And then, of course, lastly, we have Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin, otherwise known as Edgy Tryhard the Game. If you've been on the internet the past, like, 24 hours or so, the majority of the community seems to be a little bit negative on this. Like, maybe lukewarm, in the middle of the road, or negative. Like, it's not really positive at all. The gameplay looks fun, looks enjoyable. It's what it was rumored to be. A Team Ninja game, Soulsborne style game, that's what it looks like. The gameplay looks fun. The story and the dialogue, oh my god. It's a 2.5-minute trailer of the word chaos repeated till your ears bleed. Like, I gotta kill chaos. Let's go kill chaos. Where's chaos? Like, we get it. It's fucking chaos. I'll be completely honest with you guys. When I first watched this trailer today, because I didn't catch the live E3 yesterday, my first thought seeing this was that this was a different game that they like incorporated Final Fantasy into. And I'm not saying that that's what happened. I'm saying that's what it felt like to me. This just does not feel like a Final Fantasy game. Not just because it's a hack and slash Soulsborne type of thing, or whatever genre this is, or you want to call it. Not just the gameplay. It just didn't feel like or look like really a Final Fantasy game, which I know that that's the point. They're trying to do something new or different. But people are also like commenting on the main character Jack because he just like rolls up in like a regular ass t-shirt. Just doesn't really look like a Final Fantasy character, which some people have said that maybe that's the point. Maybe you can kind of create your own main character with this game, which would be kind of a cool concept. There's also like screenshots of some of the gameplay and shit of him like having different outfits on, so he's not just rocking this basic ass Target t-shirt the entire time. Also, because of his blonde buzz cut, people were making the obvious Eminem jokes, which isn't really funny. It's like super low effort, low hanging fruit jokes, but still that was happening. Anyways, this game has Garland in it from the first Final Fantasy. He apparently becomes Chaos, and this game is supposed to tell the origins of Chaos, which was like the main antagonist and the final boss with the original Final Fantasy, which conceptually that's kind of cool, but again, I don't know how I feel, man. It's kind of like Babylon's Fall, where it's super lukewarm, almost negative. When I watch this, it just doesn't look that interesting. I think part of that's because with like the rumors of this game we talked about here on the channel, I was kind of hoping this was going to be almost like a Final Fantasy VII remake version of Final Fantasy 1, like them kind of remaking that game from the ground up in a modern like setting and shit, modern like technology or whatever, or some game that's like parallel to that, or some kind of like remake where it's like a kind of a reimagining or something. I don't know. Like I was hoping for something else, and this just doesn't look that interesting, if I'm honest. And if I'm completely honest, I'm kind of in agreement with what I've seen people talking about on social media. This was a pretty underwhelming showcase for Square Enix, and possibly their worst. I've seen some people say that. I have to go back and look at all their other showcases to see if that's actually the case. But I don't know, man. This was just kind of... I'm almost glad I didn't actually go out of my way to watch this live, because it would have just been underwhelming. And I'm not just saying this part here because I talk about Final Fantasy VII Remake all the time. This almost needed something, right? They needed almost like a teaser for part 2. I know Intergrade just dropped. I know Intermission just came out. But this almost needed something to like save it. Because this was... A lot of people weren't really happy with this showcase. Like, unless you're a diehard Square Enix fan that just buys everything under the Square Enix umbrella and you just buy every game they drop, like, there's nothing here that, for me, just catches my attention. Final Fantasy Origins could be interesting. They're putting out a demo. It's made by Team Ninja. They're pretty good at like fan feedback. They did it with like Neo 2. They took a lot of fan feedback into that game. And maybe that's why they're doing a demo now. Like, they're like, we need you to help us make whatever this fucking game is. I also think it's a missed opportunity for that game that the demos come out on PS5 when the game is also hitting PS4 and also PC. Like, why not just drop the demo on everything that the fucking game's going to come out on? What sense does that make? Like, I'm super glad you're going to work out the kinks on PS5 so that we get a janky piece of shit on PS4. Can't wait for it. I realize now, as I'm closing out this video, that I've sounded kind of bitter throughout, and maybe a bit of that is the stress of the past couple days. But also, I'm not the only person that's like hating on the E3 showcase. That's kind of the consensus out there. A lot of people just didn't seem to enjoy it. I don't mean to sound negative if that's what it is. Maybe you guys loved it, but it's just, there's nothing here that really grabbed my attention. I'll probably check out Babylon's Fall in a year and a half from now, or some shit, whatever, a year and a half after it releases. And depending on what they show us of Origins, or Final Fantasy Origin, whatever it's called, Stranger Paradise of, I might check it out. Anyways, that's the video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you guys aren't wants to do more Final Fantasy content, Square Enix stuff. I'm losing my goddamn mind. Turn on my notifications. Follow me on Twitter, dashingdavidYT. I'm a Discord. Links to my social networks are in the description and in the outro. Later, guys.
Used to care what people thought, but now I care more. And nobody out here's got it figured out. So therefore, I've lost all hope of a happy ending, depending on whether or not it's worth it. So insecure, no one's perfect. We spend it with no shame. We blow that like Coltrane. We in here like Low Gain or leave it like Cobain.